Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Alyssa. Thank you so much for joining me today. Happy Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. So, today I really wanted to focus on sobriety, my own sobriety journey. There's been a lot going on, and I just feel like having an episode to talk about what I've been going through, maybe share some tips that might be helpful for you if you're also navigating your own sobriety journey. So let's get into it. Let's see here, where to begin. I so last weekend it was really nice outside. Like the sun has been shining. It has been beautiful after a few weeks of May gray. Like I feel like we've really experienced May gray pretty bad. And when the summer months start creeping up and when it's warm outside, beach weather, there seems to be this shift in more people being outside, patio drinking, day drinking, drinking at the beach, what have you. More than 3.5 years into my sobriety journey, I don't really get cravings as much as I used to, but I do still get a voice in the back of my head that tries to tell me that what would it hurt if I just have one drink? You've been sober for X amount of years now. Maybe this time will be different. And so I kind of wanted to focus on that because when I was in my downtown area a couple Saturdays ago, I kind of was looking around and not got FOMO, but was like, I wish that I could forget about life for a little bit. I feel like a lot of my drinking was centered around the weekends, which I've shared, and it was more so once I started, I couldn't stop, binge drinking, that sort of thing. But seeing friends gather and enjoying like a beer on a warm day, it made me miss that because doing stuff like that with friends that still drink isn't the same when you're not drinking. You don't really want to be hanging out around that environment for too long, bouncing around to bars. I mean, it depends. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. I just feel like I want to spend my time differently. But when I saw people kind of gathered around, I feel like I kind of put like blinders on. Like I just don't let myself go down that rabbit hole of thinking like what that would be like if I was still doing that every weekend. Because I know the reality of what that would look like. I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be engaged to my fiance. I wouldn't have the life that I have now. We've been able to travel so much together. Both of our jobs have aligned where we're both remote and have the flexibility to go and explore and do so many different things. And all of these experiences that I've had since I've quit drinking, I know deep in my heart that my life would look a lot different if I still drank. But that doesn't discount the fact that sometimes you miss it or romanticize what it used to be like when you would drink. And so if you're out there new to sobriety or just need a reminder, there's some things that really help me shift my perspective back to why I did this in the first place. And that's basically the first one is your why. Going back to why you quit drinking, why you decided to be on this journey in the first place. For me, it was something that I felt like I had to control, and it just stopped becoming fun. Controlling how many drinks that I had when I went out, worrying about drinking too much and getting blacked out, having an apology tour the next day, going through my phone, who did I drunk text, who did I drunk dial? The list goes on and on. So that's really helpful for me. And also just like focusing on all the positives that this new life without alcohol has brought you. I love yoga so much, and I feel like my yoga practice has changed since I stopped drinking. I love waking up without a hangover, kind of playing that tape forward or playing it back a little bit, reminding yourself of what it was like when you did drink. Because for me, it was never one drink. And the times that I did have one drink, I would always think or moderate to just two. Before I stopped drinking, I took, I believe I've shared this but in the past, but I took months off at a time. And I thought that that was just, I could control it after that. And so when I went out, two drinks only, that's it. But sipping on that first drink, I was already thinking about the second and how the second was going to be my last drink. And was I buzzed enough to just stop after two? And so, if you've been on the fence or sober curious and you've had those similar thoughts in your head, like I just shared, then maybe that's something to explore a little deeper. Because for me, I didn't realize that that wasn't normal. It wasn't until I asked my fiance and he's like, "No, I don't think about my next drink when I'm sipping on my first." I'm like, "What?" I thought everyone did. Like, it got to a point, like during happy hour, where I'd be halfway through my first drink and want the bartender to come over so I can place that next order. So I had a fresh one ready to go after the last sip of my first drink. And it's interesting because when I was visiting Utah over the holidays, they have a rule where you can't have two drinks in front of you, because Mormons usually don't drink. And I know it's different for everyone. I don't really want to get into that because I don't know all the things, but there's different laws that are still in place of liquor only being sold at state liquor stores. Only a certain amount percentage of alcohol, or of beer can be sold in grocery stores, but mostly you have to get all your alcohol and beer and wine from a state-run liquor store, which is very interesting. And they have varying hours and that sort of thing. And I mean, coming from someone that's sober, I'm like, yes, all places should have this. But thinking back to Alyssa when she was drinking, she'd be pretty upset if they said you have to finish your drink first before you have that second one. So anyway, that was just a little side note. But yeah, I just playing that tape forward and then also playing it back. My mom and I were talking over Mother's Day, and she reminded me of something that I kind of forgot about. Like, I feel like I've gotten to a place where I can forgive myself for that version of me, and I've grown so much, and I know that I'm no longer that person. But remembering some of the times that validate, not that I needed validation to quit drinking, but just some of those times that were not so great. Remembering those times and be like, yep, that's why I don't drink, because eventually if I started drinking again, it would probably end up being a similar situation. So I was working at a PR company at the time, and one of our clients was this bougie private club in Los Angeles. And we used to have team building days, and it was always Christmas and July themed. And so they would party bus everyone out there so no one would have to drive. I didn't live locally to where our office was, so they paid for me to Uber from my house and then Uber back. And it was order whatever you want, champagne flowing. And this was the summer before I quit drinking. So the July before I quit, that September was when I decided to stop drinking for good. Or I was going to try to. I didn't know what it was going to end up being when I decided that. But that was my goal in September of 2021, to quit drinking for good or see how long it could take me, because the month on, month off wasn't really working. So I had taken a break from drinking May of 2021, or was it 2020? Anyway, I had taken some month breaks, and I thought that that helped. I mean, it did, but I always knew I was going to start drinking again. So I didn't really know what sobriety was like and what it was like to live without alcohol until September of 2021. So we're in July of 2021. Champagne's flowing, drinks are flowing. I'm feeling buzzed. And I don't really I didn't eat breakfast. It's just like, why didn't I eat when I drank? It's like all I was focusing on was the drinking, and I was with my bosses and stuff. And so I ended up blacking out. I vaguely remember them putting me in an Uber to go home. I'm assuming that I was coherent enough to get into the Uber, but I completely blacked out on the Uber ride home. And this is from downtown LA back to where I was living in Redondo Beach. And I remember waking up, or the Uber driver waking me up when I was at home and was like, we're here, we're here. And I thought that I was in Ventura. So my now fiance at the time was living up in Ventura. I was living down in Redondo Beach, but I was staying a lot in Ventura. So I was so disorientated. I had no idea where I was when I had woken up in the back of the Uber driver's car and was like freaking out, to the point where the Uber driver had to call my fiance, and then my fiance had to call my parents, or my mom, and yeah, my mom. So I don't remember getting into the house. I mean, this was probably like 4 p.m., and I slept until the next day. Rehashing the story, I'm like, geez. And I didn't think then, like, your drinking is an issue. I mean, I guess I did, because there was some, it was through yoga, and some yoga, it was called the 40 Days to Personal Revolution by Baron Baptiste. I did that twice, in 2020, and that really opened my eyes of what rock are you carrying that needs to release. And a whisper kept saying alcohol, 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 but I wasn't ready to face it. So I had kind of known internally that alcohol was no longer serving me. Everyone else around me knew. Everyone else around me tried to tell me, didn't want to listen. I'm not an alcoholic. You guys don't know what you're talking about. I drink like everyone else, that whole thing. But thinking back now, the scary situations that I put myself in, and how I didn't get talked to by my managers after me blacking out at a work event, I don't know, and how I got home safely. Like, that was very scary, to be in a situation by myself, passed out in someone's car that I didn't even know. And I got myself into those situations a lot. Like, I wish I could say, like, oh, it was only like a couple times like that. Like, it got pretty bad. Like, I have stories for days about, like, my time in North Dakota, and then my time in Florida. And as I got older, my drinking, I feel like, progressively got worse. It started out as like, we're just in college having a good time, to me continuing that party, but needing more to drink in order to feel that. I was like chasing that dopamine hit without even knowing that that's what I was chasing. And then, because drinking's a depressant, I would cry a lot when I would drink. Maybe not when I was out around friends, but when I would get home, I would just start bawling uncontrollably. And because I wasn't processing things, I was using alcohol to suppress, and then the alcohol eventually brought it out of me. And so I would get really upset. And yeah, it wasn't good. And thinking about that version of myself, I'm just like, man. And it was like every weekend. It's like I didn't even give my body enough time to recuperate from the last time. And I kind of wish that I breathalyzed myself to see what my blood alcohol content was, because I believe it was probably pretty high, and I blacked out a lot, and it's very scary. I share this all because reminding myself of those times make me realize, like I said, why I have decided to be on this path of staying sober. And I honestly didn't know that I was going to be able to have sobriety last consistently for this long. And that kind of leads me into the next area I want to talk about is when they call it relapse, but when you have a long stint of sobriety, I feel like if you drink and fall off for a little bit, it's more of a step back than a full blown relapse. I mean, it just depends, but I just feel like that's a little harsh terminology that's used because even if after an extended amount of time you end up drinking, that doesn't discredit the years or months that you had had prior to that slip. I guess a slip is a better way to say it. A step back, a setback, a slip. Um, and I know many people that have and have shared their story of that happening. And I feel like that's so brave and vulnerable of them because it is something that is right around the corner for anyone that decides to quit drinking. People think that on the outside might think that, you have a certain amount of sobriety under your belt, that you're stronger, and maybe it doesn't, you can, I don't know, not that you're healed from it, but it's something that is always like a choice that you have to make every single day. Like, not drinking is a choice you make every single day. There's a reason why they say one day at a time, because at any moment something can throw you off course into wanting to go down that path again, whether it's your brain trying to play tricks on you, saying that this time it's different, or you weren't that bad, and over time, you do start rewiring your brain. And so, like I had mentioned earlier, when I saw a bunch of people drinking at a brewery, I kind of put blinders on. When I go to the grocery store, I put blinders on where I just like know where the non-alcoholic drinks are if I go down that aisle, and I don't even look at any of the other options. Same with like a Bevmo or something like that. But and then I'm at a restaurant and they have Topa Topa Chief IPA for anyone that lives in Ventura, and that was my favorite beer. And I'm like, man, I wish they made a non-alcoholic version of that. Or if I were to drink again, that would be the beer that I would drink. And I'm like, why am I even saying this? Why am I even saying this? It just sucks how much power alcohol has over a person, over our society, in every event that we have. It's like, drink. People pop out a baby, they bring champagne to the delivery room. I don't know. Baby shower, even though the wife can't drink, everyone else is drinking. Bridal shower, wedding, bachelorette party, graduation. The list goes on and on and on. A funeral, grief, happy times, it doesn't matter. It's like alcohol can be at the beach, anywhere, the pool, all anywhere, vacations, all inclusive. Alcohol has been associated with fun for so many years, and I do have fun without it, but it's very hard to consistently have to remind yourself that you're on the right path and you are making the best decision for yourself, especially when those warmer months come in. Because I used to go to the beach, and the reason, beach, hanging out, and I brought White Claws. Poolside, same thing. And so I think back to like my first sober summer, and it was very difficult. You kind of like are white knuckling it a little bit because your mind, it kind of associates certain events and environments with alcohol, and you have to kind of retrain that, no, this is not what we're doing now. And it does get easier over time, but that little voice can still creep in. So, another thing, what I mentioned about slips, was that Chrissy Teigen recently shared on her Instagram about how I'm not sure to what extent, I didn't listen to the podcast episode yet that she was on with Holly, who wrote the book Quit Like a Woman, which was the first Quit Lit. For those that you don't know what Quit Lit is, it's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like sober literature of people that quit drinking. And now I'm like, did I butcher it? Tyler? Uh, Maybe one day. I feel like I'm manifesting a Tyler producer or someone because I keep saying it. I wish someone could check me here. But yeah, that was the first book that opened my eyes to drinking, what it does to your body, how it's so ingrained in our society, even at work. Like the story that I shared, that was a work environment, and we were given as much alcohol as we wanted to have fun with. But I thought it was very vulnerable of her, and just because of the platform that she has to be open about her struggle and her journey, because everyone's journey is so different. And everyone's everyone's tools to stay sober can vary as well. Like I love yoga, and I feel like that is such a spiritual practice for me that brings me back home, connects me to a higher power, and helps me realize what all this is for. And some of the feelings that I feel when I'm practicing yoga are more euphoric than I ever felt when I was doing any type of drug or drinking. It's amazing, but it's not for everyone. Same with, certain tools like playing the tape forward and different stuff like that. And becoming educated on all the things out there that might be able to help you, and finding what works for you is my advice, especially getting through these summer months. I mean, Memorial Day weekend, an example right there. It's interesting because I guess May has Cinco de Mayo, which is a big drinking holiday. I didn't even think about Cinco de Mayo this year, so it's really interesting how, yes, on some degree, the time that I've had sober, I do forget about certain drinking holidays and that sort of thing, and I don't have FOMO. But then when I'm out and about, sometimes that little, I kind of romanticize it a little bit and have to bring myself back. And it's not like I have a craving, like, oh my gosh, like everyone else is drinking, I want to drink, I gotta drink. It's more so, it's changed after like that first year, where more so like I knew it wasn't about the drinking. It was about me wanting to escape my reality. And although I've built a life that I feel is so beautiful, and I just am so grateful every day that I wake up. I know that I'm still kind of in an in between phase with career stuff, but just so grateful for everything that I've built since I stopped drinking. Now I forget what I was saying, but now that I've built everything, that I've stopped drinking, it like still doesn't mean that sometimes sometimes life is still hard. So that escape, like, dealing like what I've shared on the last couple episodes about navigating family stuff. I've had some deaths in my family since I stopped drinking. We lost our family pet. There's been some hard times that have made me want to just numb and forget about life for a little bit. And it's more so about that escaping. And so when that happens, when I just want to escape from my reality, I have to check back in as to why. Why do I want to escape? What tool can I use here to help me stay on this path and stay true to my intention of continuing my sobriety as long as it lasts? I never liked saying forever. Since the beginning, I started, forever felt like so long. When I first stopped drinking, I couldn't even imagine not going to parties, having my own wedding without alcohol, having a bachelorette party without alcohol. Now I wouldn't want it any other way. And so it's like this constant thing that where you have to continuously, as much as time has gone on and it has gotten easier to some degree, it's like it doesn't go away. And it's something that you live with for the rest of your life, is consistently centering yourself, consistently telling yourself why this decision was the best for you, because there is so much temptation out there. And that's why people say, and I've said it, that sobriety is a superpower. In a world that is obsessed with alcohol, you not drinking, that's a big deal. A big deal. Even if you've only been sober for a couple of days, like you should be so proud of yourself because it is such a challenge, especially when you have people in the beginning who don't understand, family members that don't get it, coworkers who don't get it, a lot of people too that don't understand or try to maybe convince you that your drinking wasn't that bad. It's just a mirror to maybe what they might be struggling with their own drinking. And so you're navigating so much stuff on top of just like living life, going to work every day, navigating family stuff, whatever it may be. And then you always have like, you know, have to check in with yourself about that sobriety, your sobriety and staying sober. And yeah, it's tough. It's the hardest thing that I've done, but it's the most rewarding thing that I've ever done. And sobriety is such a gift. It's the greatest gift I've given to myself, the people that I've met through this journey. It's just been so amazing. So as we enter into this 3-day weekend, which is the official, or is it unofficial? Nice to have Tyler here. Unofficial kickstart to summer. I'm just going to go with that because that's where I'm thinking. You don't have to drink. You don't need alcohol to have fun. You can be sober and sip on your mocktails, sip on your bubbly water, sip on your non-alcoholic beer, sip on just plain water. I drink plain water all the time. And be perfectly content because you know your truth. And you don't need to explain to anyone else why you've chosen this decision. That's for you to know, and it doesn't matter what other people think, because if it is making you feel better about yourself, if it is changing your life for the better, your relationships for the better, that is a gift, and only you know what's right for you. So just stay the course. Obviously, slips happen. If that happens, don't let it destroy you. Learn from it and keep going, because it is really challenging. And like I had mentioned, I don't like saying forever because the reality of something, I forget what the percentage is, but it's a very high percentage of someone going back to drinking once they've stopped. It's a very high percentage. I think it's like 60 or 70%. If that is wrong, I'll put it in the show notes what the actual percentage is, but it's really tough. It's very tough. So stay the course as best you can. Reach out to community for support. My DMs are always open if you need someone to lean on. I've been through it. I've navigated family stuff. I've gone through a job loss. I've gone through so much since I've stopped drinking. So I'm here for you. You got this. Having the whole summer, living it out with no regrets. It's the best feeling ever, being present for vacations and beach times and just enjoying this beautiful world. I love it. I love it so, 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 so much. What I kind of mentioned about job loss, I feel like a lot of chapters are closing. And when chapters close, they make space for what's to come. And if that is something that you're currently navigating, just know that although right now it may feel super uncomfortable, you have no idea what is happening or what you got yourself into, whether it's, having a new baby or getting laid off from a job or moving or starting a new job. Transitions and changes are very difficult to navigate, but just like sobriety, taking it one day at a time and having trust that this is the path that you're meant to be on, and just embrace it for what it is as much as you can. Because I do feel like there's like some shift going on, and maybe it's just like spring into summer, or like winter into spring where seasons change, things change, and I'm really enjoying spring. I was thinking the other day, I've been walking every morning and it's really helped. I wear contacts and I've been walking without my phone, without my contacts in, without sunglasses, just to kind of like enjoy the elements before, because I work remotely. And so I'm always on my computer inside. So just being outside and enjoying that before starting my workday has helped. And I was thinking the other day, I was like, I really like spring. I'm like, is spring my new favorite season? But then I was like, I kind of like summer a lot too because it's warm. I love fall because it's like Halloween and that cool air shifts. And then I love winter because I ski now. So I'm like, maybe I just love all the seasons and just flowing in and out of them. I don't really have a favorite. I'm not sure. What else has been going on? I feel like I've covered a lot in this episode, and I hope some of the stories that I shared, some of the tips that have helped me, and the things that are in my toolkit might help you as you're navigating your own sobriety journey. And I just can't say enough how much sobriety has changed my life. But that doesn't mean that life is always perfect. And I feel like sometimes that gets missed in translation by social media posts and different things. And although life changes in so many ways, it's still really tough. You still have to navigate things for the first time, prepare yourself for certain situations, remind yourself constantly why you decided to drink. So just be gentle with yourself. Just take it one day at a time, like they say. And I hope you all have a safe and fun Memorial Day weekend. And I'll catch you back here next time. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode. If you like what you're hearing, please rate, like, review. Is that a thing? Subscribe. Hit that subscribe button wherever you're watching it. We're available on a bunch of different platforms now. So I'm so happy that you found us. If you're new here, thank you so much for coming back. If you've listened to other episodes, and remember, wherever you go, there you are.